Hello and welcome back to another Orange Coast College mathematics video. In this video we're going to figure out how to deal with multiple transformations going on with the same function. For example, we may stretch a function, reflect it over the x-axis, and then shift it left or right, or up and down. If you're unfamiliar with these, I suggest you check out our previous two videos on how we can reflect functions over the x and y axis, as well as how to shift them left, right, up, and down. Let's just jump straight into this problem. As a reminder, it's nice to try and write our function in terms of our base function because we can see what is being done to that base function. Let's rewrite g of x and try to write it in terms of f of x. So we have g of x is equal to 2 times x minus 1 quantity squared minus 3. Now my base function is x squared, so how can I turn that into an x minus 1 squared? Well, I can just use x minus 1 as my input. So this is going to be 2 times f of x minus 1 minus 3. So what's actually happening to our function? Well, first off, we've got this 2, so we're going to be vertically stretching our function. After we stretch our function, we're then going to be moving it to the right by 1 unit. And then finally, we have a minus 3, so we're going to be shifting it down 3 units. Let's actually start drawing our function. So, as always, I like to draw the base function first. And of course, we can use some points to get a good sketch. So, negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 2 squared is 4. 1 squared is 1. And 2 squared is 4. So that's enough to sketch my base function. So now I'm going to start off with my stretch. So my stretch is going to be multiplying each of these points by 2. So it's going to stretch it out vertically. You can think of it as I'm literally taking the arms of my parabola and stretching them upwards. So since it's going to be 2 times that, it'll be 2 times 1, which is 2, 2 times 4, which is 8, which is about right there. And then again, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 4 is 8. Again, it's about up there. So this is enough to get our sketch going. Alright, so now we have our stretched out parabola, and now we can shift it to the left or right. And I'm going to move it 1 unit to the right, and then 3 units down. And that is my graph of g of x. Now another way to see this is that you can take each of these points, right, I'll draw them in blue this time. So after I stretched out my parabola, I could take each of these points and then apply the changes to each of those points. So if I follow these, I'll go 1 to the right and then 3 units down. I end up right there. I do 1 unit to the right, 3 units down. I'm going to get the same points here. And then you can use these points to create your new parabola. Once you've done that, you can erase your lines and make it a little bit cleaner. And as you see, we have the same parabola. Moving on to the second problem, we have a different base function this time. We have x cubed. And as always, we want to try and write g of x in terms of f of x. So g of x is equal to negative x plus 2 quantity cubed minus 1. So how do I rewrite this in terms of f of x? Well, the thing that's being cubed is x plus 2. So that's going to be the input to f of x. So I can rewrite g of x as negative f of x plus 2 minus 1. So what do we see is happening? We're multiplying our function by negative 1. So that's going to be a reflection over the x-axis. Then second, we have an x plus 2 as our input. So that's going to correlate to a shift to the left, right, because it's plus 2. So we're going to shift 2 units to the left. And then finally, we have a minus 1. This is going to be a shift 1 unit down. So let's go ahead and start graphing everything. As always, I like to graph my base function. So we get a couple points. 1 cubed is 1, 0 cubed is 0, 2 cubed is 8, negative 1 cubed is negative 1, and negative 2 cubed is negative 8. So I can sketch my original function. So now let's start graphing g of x. So we start off with the reflection over the x-axis. So this negative 8 is going to become a positive 8. This negative 1 is going to become a positive 1. This 1 is going to become a negative 1. And this positive 8 is going to become a negative 8. So these are my points reflected over the x-axis. So now we can apply our shifts to them. So we're going 2 units to the left and then 1 unit down. So take each of these points and move them 2 to the left and then 1 down. So 1, 2, and then 1 down. And then the other points, 1, 2, down, 1, 2, down, 1, 2, down, and then finally 1, 2, down. So these blue dots correspond to the points on g of x. So now all I have to do is sketch it, and then we're done. And there we have it. Moving on to our final problem, we have a different base function. We have the square root of x being our parent function. So let's try to rewrite g of x. So g of x is the square root of 1 minus x plus 2. Let's try to rewrite it in terms of f of x. Now whatever's under the square root is the input of my function. So we can rewrite this as g of x is equal to f of 1 minus x plus 2. However, this looks a little strange. Normally we have x in front, so let's rewrite it. And so we have f of negative x plus 1 plus 2. Now we're almost ready to start graphing, but we need to make sure that we have positive x plus or minus something. How can I get positive x plus or minus something? Well, I can factor out a negative 1 inside the input. So this becomes f of negative quantity x minus 1 plus 2. From here, we're ready to start graphing. Now we can identify all the pieces that we have. So we have a negative inside of our input being multiplied towards x minus 1. That means that we're going to reflect over the y-axis. Then we have x minus 1 as our input. So we're going to shift to the right 1 unit. And then finally, we have a plus 2, so we're going to shift up 2 units. As always, I like to graph my original function first. So square root of x, square root of 0 is 0, square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of 4 is 2. Now we're going to start off with our reflection over the y-axis. So we have a point right here, a point right here, and of course the origin is included. Now we're going to take each of these points and shift them 1 unit to the right and then 2 units up. So starting with the origin, we're going to move that 1 unit to the right and then 2 units up. The next point, 1 unit to the right, 2 units up. And then the next point, 1 unit to the right, 2 units up. And now we can sketch our graph. And now we're finished. That's going to be it for this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.